In the world of commercial aviation, recovery after a global crisis is rarely equal. While legacy giants across Southeast Asia spent years buried under mountains of debt, a dramatic turnaround was quietly unfolding in the Philippine archipelago. In late 2021, Philippine Airlines, Asia's oldest commercial carrier, was on the brink of financial collapse, hemorrhaging over 200 million pesos a day. Fast forward to today. Philippine Airlines has logged more than 15 consecutive quarters of profitability, placing landmark orders for ultra-long-range Airbus A350-1000s, while its low-cost sibling, Cebu Pacific, executed a historic $24 billion deal for up to 152 aircraft. How did airlines in the Philippines manage to outpace their regional peers, transforming from bankruptcy candidates into some of the most aggressive growth engines in Asia? The answer lies in a masterclass of structural restructuring, demographic tailwinds, and a uniquely resilient market model. To understand why Philippine carriers are outperforming their peers, you first have to look at the balance sheet. When the pandemic hit, most state-backed airlines in the region took on massive emergency loans or extended drawn-out restructurings under domestic laws. Thai Airways emerged from court supervision, but still carries roughly $5.8 billion in legacy debt obligations that will drain its cash flow well into the 2030s. Garuda Indonesia restructured $9.6 billion in liabilities, yet remains weighed down by negative equity and fleet activation bottlenecks. Philippine Airlines took a radically different path. In September 2021, Philippine Airlines filed for Chapter 11 protection in the United States. In less than 4 months, one of the fastest airline reorganizations in history, 100% of voting creditors approved a plan that wiped over $2 billion in debt completely off the balance sheet. It returned unprofitable aircraft, renegotiated vendor contracts without penalty, and injected $555 million in fresh capital. A clean balance sheet gives an airline operational speed, but it is market demand that provides long-term altitude. This is where the Philippines possesses structural economic tailwinds that neighboring hubs like Singapore, Bangkok, or Kuala Lumpur simply cannot replicate. First, consider the geography. Across a country composed of over 7,000 islands separated by open water, commercial aviation is not a discretionary luxury. It's fundamental national infrastructure. Ferries and highways simply cannot offer viable travel times between major economic zones like Luzon, the Visayas, and Mindanao. As a result, the Philippine domestic aviation sector is expanding at a compound annual growth rate of 7%, significantly outstripping the broader Asia-Pacific average of 5% and global averages of 3%. Second, and perhaps most uniquely, is the demographic moat created by the Overseas Filipino Worker, or OFW, diaspora. Over 10 million Filipinos live and work abroad, concentrated heavily across North America, the Middle East, and Asia-Pacific. In aviation economics, this translates into high-density VFR traffic, visiting friends and relatives. Unlike pure leisure tourism, which fluctuates wildly based on economic conditions, or corporate travel, which can be replaced by digital meetings, diaspora traffic is structurally resilient. When global recessions or geopolitical shocks hit, international tourists cancel luxury vacations. Overseas workers, however, continue to travel home for holidays, family milestones, and long-planned reunions. In the Middle East, Philippine Airlines capitalize on this massive labor corridor using high-density aircraft configurations. Simultaneously, smart codeshare and interline partnerships, such as strategic agreements with Emirates and Qatar Airways, allow Philippine Airlines to capture yield across the Gulf without overextending its own fleet against massive Middle Eastern hub carriers. In North America, where millions of Filipino Americans reside, Philippine Airlines commands a near monopoly on direct, non-stop trans-Pacific services, giving it a high-margin revenue engine that insulates the airline from local economic volatility. What makes the growth of Philippine aviation so formidable is that the market is not dominated by a single airline fighting on all fronts. Instead, the the domestic and international arenas are split between two heavyweights operating vastly different, highly complementary business models. At home, Cebu Pacific reigns supreme. Capturing nearly 60% of the domestic passenger market, Cebu Pacific is a low-cost carrier built on extreme operational efficiency. It pushes aircraft utilization to its physical limits and utilizes ultra-dense cabin layouts, most notably configuring its wide-body Airbus A330neos with a staggering 459 seats in an all-economy layout. By maximizing seat capacity, Cebu Pacific lowers its cost per available seat kilometer, or CASK, to levels that few regional budget competitors can match. In 2024, Cebu Pacific signaled its massive long-term growth trajectory by executing a landmark $24 billion order for up to 152 Airbus A320neo family aircraft, the largest aircraft commitment in Philippine aviation history. Philippine Airlines, meanwhile, wisely chose not to engage Cebu Pacific in a destructive domestic price war. A full-service network carrier that tries to match a low-cost carrier on domestic ticket pricing usually ends up diluting its premium brand while failing to lower its cost base. Instead, Philippine Airlines conceded the pure budget domestic segment and pivoted toward premium long-haul international connectivity. In late 2025, Philippine Airlines took delivery of its flagship Airbus A350-1000s, becoming the first operator of the ultra-long-range variant in Southeast Asia. Equipped with a balanced three-class layout, business, premium economy, and economy, the A350-1000 gives Philippine Airlines the range and fuel efficiency to fly non-stop from Manila to Seattle, New York, and Toronto without facing payload penalties or leaving cargo behind. By leveraging a 25 cent per drop in fuel burn compared to previous generation wide-bodies, Philippine Airlines protects its profit margins on some of the longest trans-Pacific routes in world aviation, a moat that budget carriers simply cannot cross. Nothing demonstrates the sheer confidence of Philippine aviation more than the aggressive capital expenditure spree both major airlines are executing today. Having reset its balance sheet, Philippine Airlines didn't stop with its order for flagship Airbus A350-1000s for ultra-long-haul routes to New York and Seattle. Philippine Airlines doubled down on wide-body growth by signing a major deal with Boeing for up to 20 Boeing 787-10 Dreamliners, including 15 firm orders. These fuel-efficient Dreamliners will form the backbone of Philippine Airlines' medium to long-haul regional expansion across Asia and Australia, providing a 25% boost in fuel efficiency while allowing the airline to scale frequencies without compromising unit costs. Between Cebu Pacific's 152 narrow-bodies and Philippine Airlines' combined Airbus and Boeing wide-body commitments, Philippine carriers are taking delivery of over 170 next-generation aircraft over the next decade. However, sustained growth will depend heavily on overcoming long-standing infrastructure bottlenecks. For decades, Manila's primary gateway, Ninoy Aquino International Airport, operated well beyond its design capacity, leading to severe slot constraints and runway congestion. Fortunately, a massive infrastructure transformation is now underway. The privatization and rehabilitation of NAIA, alongside multi-billion-dollar greenfield mega-projects like the new Manila International Airport in Bulacan, are unlocking the critical gate capacity needed to accommodate these new fleets. Ultimately, the resurgence of Philippine Airlines offers a vital lesson for global aviation. Airlines rarely fail because they are small. They fail when they carry unsustainable debt burdens, fly unprofitable routes, and try to be everything to every passenger. By executing a swift, surgical restructuring, capitalizing on an unbeatable home market, and deploying specialized fleets for distinct market segments, Philippine carriers didn't just survive an unprecedented global crisis. They established a high-growth model that continues to outpace regional rivals across Asia.